good evening, everyone. I apologize for our technical difficulties today, but you have to just listen to my beautiful voice instead of looking at a beautiful slide with Jesus' face on it. So, today the message that I bring to you from the Gospel Moment is from chapter 6 in the Gospel explained by the Spiritist Doctrine. And it's the first message, which reads, or item 1, which reads, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light." And that is on Matthew 11:28 through 30. And when Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened," he simply is calling upon those who are suffering the trials of life and are exhausted from the incessant labors that we endure every day. And he says, "I will give you rest," because his teachings brought to us a consoling message claiming that blessed are the afflicted and blessed are those who mourn. In other words, those that go through trials and troubles and understand why they're going through it and humble themselves enough to go through these troubles with dignity and morality, they understand this and they realize how small they are and they realize the greatness of God. These people, these individuals are blessed. And he goes on and says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me." And here he says we can find solace, where he says here, he means that we can find solace in the certainty of the future by having confidence in God and in God's justice. So if we know that there's a future life, we're not worried about the trials of today because we know they are very small and they're just a small portion of everything that we're still yet to endure. And knowing that we'll be here in the next life makes these trials very small for us. Almost like they're redundant obstacles that are going to help us progress and move on and advance. And he says, "And you will find rest for your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So Jesus, when he was here on earth, he bore the heaviest of burdens, because when he was incarnated on earth, he served as a guide and example by undergoing these trials with utmost dignity, humility, and morality. He understood the divine laws and the divine principles. So he knew that in order for him to set an example for humanity, so that we could understand how to deal with these trials, he had to be very humble and loving and compassionate in dealing with the troubles that he dealt with at that time in Israel. And his yoke is light because he's obedient to the principles of God and the divine laws. And he taught us to face these very trials with love and understanding. And when compassion reigns supreme, the burden, as I had mentioned, is much lighter than for those who blaspheme against God for their own miseries. Because we must understand that God does not cause us to go through all these problems. As I had mentioned in my last lecture, we're the ones who go through our own problems because we inherit the issues that we caused in our past lives, or perhaps an issue that we caused in this life. And there's an item in chapter 6 that I'd like to read for you that explains this for us very well. And it says, and this is from the Spirit of Truth, and it says the following: "I am the great healer of souls, and I have come to bring you a treatment that truly cures. The weak, the suffering, the sick are most dear to me, and I have come to save them. Come to me, then, you who suffer and find yourselves overburdened. You will be relieved and comforted. Don't search for strength and consolation elsewhere. The world is incapable of offering them. In the principles of the Spiritist Doctrine, God delivers a powerful message to your heart. listen to the call, clear your aching souls from ungodly ideas, fallacies, lies, and skepticism. They are like creatures that suck out your life's blood and leave you wounded. Be humble and surrender yourself to the supreme love, and soon your life will be in harmony with the law. Love, pray, be responsive to the help of good spirits. Pray with all your faith, and God will send the beloved Son to guide you and to lift you with these goodly words, "You called me, here I am." So, what is Jesus for us? We have our vehicles. Everybody drives a car, I'm sure. And our cars these days come equipped with a navigational unit, or known as a GPS. And Jesus is basically this GPS for us. The unit comes with all the software necessary, pre-installed, all the maps, all the destinations that will help us to navigate in life, to reach that destination that we really want to get to. And this is Jesus. All it takes is for us to turn that machine on, to turn that unit on, and connect. And how do we do this? We do this through prayer. Because the moment that we pray, we are in connection, a direct link to this navigational unit from above that is going to relay all the signals that we need in order to reach that destination that we've come here to reach on earth, which is the success of our trials and overcoming these obstacles and progressing and advancing as spirits so that we may return in a better position, or we may even return to a better situation or planet even more advanced than the earth. So the great thing about the gospel is that it serves as a navigational unit. You know, in the 16th century, a lot of explorers around the world, they set sail into unknown territories, but they were trusting in the guidance of these stars, the North Star, that it would take them somewhere. They weren't sure where they were going to end up, but they had the faith and belief that these stars were going to take us somewhere. They're going to lead us to uncharted territories, to a new land, to a new continent. And that's precisely what Jesus invites us to do here. He's inviting us into this new territory. We have to trust in His guidance and His signs and His signals so that we may take our ships, set sail into the unknown waters, overcome the waves of the trials and tribulations of life, and finally reach that shore of peace and tranquility so that we may be at rest and take off that burdensome yoke because we've become obedient to the laws of God and we accept all the trials and troubles that we have to deal with in this life. Thank you very much.